Hey, welcome back to all my fellow shop rats. Today we're back on the Stitches Challenger and we're going to be doing a lot more stripping here in the shop. So get ready for that. We're going to work on getting this door stripped down because I'm so excited to see this car starting to be all one color. We're going to go ahead and continue on. There's a lot more details about panel stripping in one of our recent episodes, but there were some things that I didn't talk about in that episode we're going to talk about today. So we'll try not to be redundant, but we're going to get this done and share the process with you. And before we're done, hopefully this entire side of the car, except for the roof, will be black. Now, we could talk about it all day long or we could just get into it, so let's just do that. I'm Mike, and this is My Car's Shop.
Working out of a 100-year-old refurbished barn, bringing 35 years of experience to projects considered beyond repair. Vision, creativity, and problem solving are essential tools in this place. Watch as we transform junk into polished metal miracles. This is My Car's Shop.
So much of the process of doing a restoration or preservation or whatever it is you want to call what we're doing to this car is lather, rinse, and repeat. And I try to make it interesting, but part of my personal thing with this is I really want to document the entire restoration process on this car, which means that you get to enjoy it or not. It's up to you. At some point in the future, I want to go right from the beginning where the car had the caved-in roof and do an entire project time-lapse to the car in completion. And in order to do that, I want to be able to just share each step of the process. The other thing is, in all of this, I don't think a lot of channels share every step of the process. There's so much, we're going to do this, poof, it's done, and you don't get a real feel for what it takes. So the good news in that is, you get to share in that experience, and you can take the things that you learn here and apply it directly to the stuff that you're working on in your shop. Now, let me clarify that I'm not saying I'm doing everything the right way. I'm sharing how I do things. If you've been around the channel for a while, you know the kind of products we can turn out by looking at things like the 47 Ford, the 68 GTS, the 69 Charger. So those are some good examples of what we do. So I think at the end of the day, it's about turning out a respectable product. And I think those are pretty respectable cars. I hope that this will be the nicest car I've ever done. We'll see. I don't know that I can ever beat what Joe did on that 69 Charger, but remains to be seen. So anyway, all right.
Let's get stripping.
I checked the temperature outside a little while ago and it is 6 degrees. Fortunately, there's no wind. When I came out here 2 hours ago and turned on the heat, it was 22 degrees in the shop. So not terrible. We're pushing 50 in here now, and I get the joy of working right here, right in front of this heater. I apologize for the noise, but I will try to speak loud enough so hopefully you can hear me over that. I really care about you guys and want to give you a good product, but I ain't freezing to death to do it, so I hope you can tolerate the background noise. All right, first thing I need to do is take this strip off, which is just one of those, used to be able to get them at Kmart, stick on the side of the car type of moldings, and then I want to get this door handle out of here so that we can just go ahead and strip this thing down. I'm also going to go ahead and pop this window seal trim out of here as well. I don't want to damage that. So we got a little bit of disassembly to do before we can really get stripping. I've worked on a ton of Mopars over the years, but I haven't worked on an E-body in a long time, and I don't remember if I've ever actually taken door handles on and off. There are 3 things that I see here. There is a lock clip down here for the door lock. There is the handle release mechanism right here, and then a big nut. So hopefully we'll pop that clip off here. That should be pretty easy. Get a long screwdriver and go down in there. Then I'm not sure about this one. We may have to try to release the door handle and get it loose. And I think there's only the one nut in the middle here that holds that on there. So we'll tear that apart and see how it goes, because I've not done it before. Got the mechanism off. I had to pop the lock, little lock thing off on the bottom and then work it out. And in the process of that, it fell down in the bottom of the door. So I got to go digging and fishing for that so we don't lose it. But handle's not great. I don't know if I'm going to reuse these or not, but I'm happy to have one. Unfortunately, the one on the driver's side is broken, so we don't have one for that. Any door handle will do right now. I think this will clean up pretty nice actually, but we may get new ones. I don't know, it doesn't matter. I don't have keys for these anyway, so we'd have to rekey it, but it is what it is for now, and we got that out of there, so I'll go ahead and get that rod out of the bottom of the door, and then we'll get this molding stripped off of here. I do have a special scraper tool for pulling these off. I can't find it right now. I'm not sure where it is, but I'm going to go ahead and try a flex putty knife and see if this works. I think it should be a big deal, but of course now I've got the thing off of there and I can't get the door open, so hang on. I just wanted to clarify that I misspoke myself. This is a factory piece. This must be off of maybe an SE Challenger. I don't know, because it's bolted here. So I got to get a socket and unbolt this, and then we'll be able to hopefully peel that off. I don't think it's bolted all the way down, but I don't know. Let's take a quick look and see if it is. No, I don't think it is because I can't access it. So probably a bolt on each end. Yep, bolt on each end, and then my guess is adhesive in the middle. Those of you that have been around the channel for a while know that I tend to just talk out loud, just share what I'm feeling and thinking, share what I'm speculating, and then kind of discover things with you as we go along. So I may misspeak myself a lot, and that's okay. Of course, the little thing just popped right out of there. There we go. That's good. That end's off. Let's get this end off now. Okay, I think we're going to do this one from the other side, like that. Piece is actually pretty decent. Somebody needs one for a driver's quality car. I certainly won't be using them on this car with the horizontal stripe we're going to go with, but we'll save it. Maybe it's a swap meet piece or just a swap piece for somebody that needs one. So there's plastic clips in the middle that held it, so we'll buzz those off when we grind the door down. All right, one more thing to get off, and that is this weather stripping here at the top because it's got some chrome on it and I don't want to ruin that, even though it's junk. I just like to try to save that stuff if possible. I haven't looked yet, but if this is like any other Mopar, there should be a screw at each end and then these special tri-finger clips that hold it down into the door. I'm assuming it is. That's pretty typical of a Mopar. Yep, there's a screw right here. See any other ones? Oh, no, there's another one right there. It'd be nice if this was screwed on, but I don't think it's going to be because the door glass gets in the way of it. Yep, it looks like there's screws everywhere the glass doesn't interfere. I think on the A bodies there's just a screw on each end. I don't remember exactly, but pretty typical of Chrysler to do it this way anyway. One more there. Okay, good. Hopefully. Is there a screw there? Doesn't feel like it. It feels like the springy clips, like is typical. It's got to be what it is. Yep, that's what it is. I see the clips there, so. Come on. Should be coming out of there, but it's got these barbs in there that kind of mess it up a little bit. And with the glass in there, it makes it extra challenging. I think I'm going to release the two door glass things here to buy me some space so I don't end up mucking up this window, because it could break easily. There's two bolts here and here, 7/16 bolts. You can loosen that will allow the glass to fall back. All you e-body guys can laugh at me now because there was two more screws in there, so I thought it was just dealing with rusty clips that didn't want to come out, and I ended up just popping this trim off of. But I didn't break the trim. Not that it matters. The rubbers are all shot anyway. The screws are still in there. So to get that out, I would have had to either take the door glass out or raise it up and take the block out so the window could go down further. So if you've not taken one of these apart before, there are screws here that I wasn't aware of. On an A-body, there's those tri-finger things that I was mentioning that slip down in there, and you got to kind of stretch them to get it out, and then you can peen them back to put them back. So that was my ignorance on an E-body, and I'll own it because I don't know everything. You've already figured that out, haven't you? As far as I know, we've got everything off of there now that we need to, so I think it's time to call in the strippers. Are you ready? So a couple things about this door. First of all, this door has been stripped and painted before. There was Bondo in it, so we know it's been stripped down to bare metal. It's got a ton of surface rust on it, which is different than what we were dealing with on the quarter panel. So I'll talk about a couple things that I do. First of all, when I started up here grinding in the time lapse, or maybe it wasn't time lapse, but anyway, when I started up in here, I forgot again that that grinder was up at maximum speed. So I kept wondering why it wasn't coming off very well. Once I realized that, I slowed it back down to about 3 or 4, went after it, got about to here, and then changed discs and finished it out. Rodney, I think it was, or what, Rod, I forget who it was, Rob, somebody on the channel had mentioned, it's great to go after a vehicle like this that has real metal with 25 grit, but if you did that to a 2018 Hyundai, you'd have a big hole in the door. And he's not wrong. I'm talking about restoration. There's other techniques for stripping these new cars, but honestly, most of the time in this new stuff, nobody's fixing stuff. They're just panel replacers. So it's a different world out there in the body shops now. I was fortunate enough that I was getting out of it in the early 2000s when all of that stuff started happening. So I didn't have to work on much stuff beyond the mid to late 90s. And I wasn't doing it full time anyway. It was only part-time gigs here and there, just helping out in body shops in those days. But anyway, as I said before, I am not a paint and body guy. I'm just a mechanic. I am a certified mechanic, and I'm a former automotive engineer who knows how to do some of this stuff. I know how to do some fabricating, and I know how to do some body work. So don't think for 1 second that I'm saying I'm an expert at this stuff. And the further and further, even I get away from turning wrenches, I feel less and less like I know what I'm doing, especially on newer stuff. So just sharing what I do. You're going to see me make mistakes. You're going to see me do wrong thinking. I just share what I know at the time, and we're always learning. And if we're not learning, we're dying. So it's better to be learning than dying. All right, anyway. So there was a lot more surface rust. I tried to stay away from that as much as I could so I didn't gum the disc up, and then went back and hit it with that 25. I'm going to go after it a little bit more with 25, and then I think I'm going to find something like an 80 grit disc maybe to go over this one more time to try to get a little more of this primer off, and then we'll hit it with a DA and see how it comes out. I've gone over that with the 25 grit. I went over it with 36. I didn't have anything lighter than that. So 36 on the grinder. And then I went over it with the purple wheel and got most of the rust out of there. There's a few little spots here I might have to get after where we just chemically convert that. That's not going to rust if it's under paint. But you can see the difference between the top here and down here where I haven't touched it with anything but 25. So I think for contrast's sake, I'm going to go ahead and DA this top, and then we'll get back over here and show you what it looks like after it's DA'd. Got a couple little spots in here yet where I'm having a hard time getting in. I'm going to have to get out the roll lock, I think, and get in there and get that out, or just get some hand sandpaper and sand that out. I just don't want to get carried away in there because with these rough grit discs, you can really take away the body lines in a hurry, and I can't emphasize that enough, how careful you have to be about the body lines. Alright, so I've DA'd the top down. I'm going to get the roll lock out and show you how to deal with this. I've got a couple little spots there, but everything is good so far. I'm pretty comfortable with this. This is more rust staining than it actually is rust at this point. So I've got most of the rust out. Trying not to touch it too much with my bare fingers, as I explained last time, but my hands are pretty dry and oil-free right now. I got to get around in here and deal with that handle. But what I wanted to show you was the difference between going over this with 36 on the DA and just a 25 grit grinder. So you see the difference in that metal there? Up here I feel this is ready to prime, or it's real close. And I may hit a few of these spots with a little acid etch before I etch prime it, just for a double whammy there. But I've got to go down here, lather, rinse, and repeat. So again, see the contrast difference between that there, how nice that looks, and this down here. Remember, the thing about oxidization is it doesn't oxidize unless it's getting oxygen. Oxygen is a corrosive substance. And so what happens is paint chips, moisture gets in, and then oxygen gets in and causes it to rust. I literally have seen panels where it's bare metal on the backside, had nothing done to it, and it hardly had any rust because there was not any moisture getting into it. Then of course the oxygen didn't have anything to catalyze with. So as long as these things are converted with some kind of chemical and then sealed over so oxygen can't get at it, it's not going to rust. Yes, I could take a small sandblaster and go through and blast all that up, but by experience, I'm telling you, I don't mess with it. If it bothers you, do it. I know some guys it does, but again, coming from a production standpoint, I want to get this done. There was stuff like this on my GTS. That car's been painted for 25 years or more. No problems. So, you know, a good etch primer will convert this. You can go over it with some chemical acid etch, which I think I will on this door, and that should be more than adequate with a good oxidizing or etching primer. So lather, rinse, and repeat on the bottom here, and get this to look similar to that, and then we'll be ready to start shooting primer. So as I said, when you get into fine detail stuff like this right in here, you got to be real careful not to take stuff out. So I like to just use a little roll-lock sanding disc. Just go in there and hit that, clean that up real quick. Doesn't take much. Kind of work with the body lines. That's got it pretty well. That's all there is to it. So a couple other things I did I'll explain here, and then we'll go ahead and start priming. What I've just done is sprayed this down with water, which may seem completely insane, but I'm going somewhere with this, so I'll let that kind of soak into the metal, and then we're going to go over it with some acid etch on a rag and just let it go over the whole thing and let it dry. You have to remember that I go all the way back into the 80s and how I do things, and I don't know if this is still current practice or not. Right now I'm just spreading the water all around. Sometimes I'll actually put the acid etch in a spray bottle and spray it on. The bottle that I had it in a shop, and I just decided to go ahead and do it this way. I've done it this way before, it's no big deal. So okay, we got the water spread around now. This stuff is really caustic, so put a rubber glove on. And I'm just dumping it around on there. Supposed to be mixed 2 to 1 with water, but I use it straight sometimes like this. It's fine. If I'm spraying it, I will mix it. Try to wear a respirator if you're spraying it, because like I said, it's really nasty stuff. Effectively, I'm creating 2 to 1 because the panel's already wet. In those areas where it's rusty, I try to hit it a little heavier with it. You can see it's just turning all of that rust black. We've obviously got patching to do on the door and stuff, but I go ahead and hit that anyway. I don't always do this, but when you have this much surface rust on a panel, I feel like it's a good extra measure. It also gives even better adhesion for the primer. I think we're in pretty good shape here. Hit that spot one more time. I've had this bottle for 30 years, I think. I don't even know if you can get the product anymore. There we go. Alright, we'll let that dry and then wipe it down. Feeling pretty dry, so I'm going to go ahead with just a damp rag now with water on it again. Wipe that down, let it dry, then we'll hit it with Prep Sol and we'll be able to prime it. Pretty clean. You've seen me throw my rags on the floor. I probably explained that before. Whenever I have a solvent-soaked rag, I always throw it on the floor till it dries out so it doesn't spontaneously combust in the trash can. Once they're dry, then they get thrown in the trash. Dad and I were filming yesterday. I got a couple packages dropped off that I haven't opened yet. A couple of boxes from Super Clean. Pretty sure I know what they are, but I thought we'll take the opportunity to plug them wherever they are back there. And thank them again for providing product here for the shop. We really appreciate it. We're getting a little bit low on some of these products, so they sent me a 6-pack of my favorite, which is the Easy Spray Aerosol. So that's really awesome. Bottom is falling out of the box, so I just went ahead and opened that way. And then I'm not sure what's in the other box here, so let's take a look. Remember that we're going to be doing a new Super Clean giveaway soon, so stay tuned for the details on that. It's been a while since we've done one, and it's time. So we have, I believe it's 6 bottles of the, just the regular Super Clean in squirt bottles, so that's great. I actually do have a fair bit of the Super Clean wheel cleaner left, so I use the daylights out of this stuff. We use it in the house. We use it all over the place. I mean, this stuff is just amazing. So thank you, Super Clean, for providing the products here that we use on the channel. And for the giveaway, this is what we're actually giving away, is a bottle of each of these. That's what Super Clean is authorized. Remember that you have to have a U.S. I believe it's a continental U.S. Mailing address in order to be able to receive that. So I'll give you the details when we do the drawing. One of these days I'm going to go ahead and work out a deal to be able to do an international one, but right now, for simplicity's sake, I just give them the order and they go ahead and fulfill it, and it has to be within, I believe it's the Continental 48. So those details will be coming. Watch for that soon. It might be in the next episode, I'm not sure. A few little things I'm still working out yet. One small step for mankind, one giant step for stitches? I don't know. Something like that. Hopefully I answered those other questions that were brought up and other comments. I appreciate your feedback as always. The visual appeal of a project steps up a lot when you go ahead and try to get the car all one color, unless you're doing an actual patina treatment on the car. And I wanted to get that door strip down. Again, it's not just about stripping as much as we like stripping. It's more about getting a true feel for the condition of the panel. Obviously, there is a boatload of work to be done here. We've got massive issues around the rear window, around the windshield. We've got floor pans. My next steps on this project are to get under it and start welding the frame. I was hoping to be able to do that today, but I've got other things I need to take care of. And so maybe that will happen tomorrow. I don't know. I'd really like to start moving forward on getting that done. Then we got to get the back end of this car stripped back off of here so we can take the quarter panel off, finish that lower rocker area in front of the wheel tub, as well as get that A-pillar fixed. that's probably a one-day project, although I always think things are going to go faster than they do. But I was really hoping, I'm really hoping to get this thing on the rotisserie real soon. I know I've been saying that for a long time, but you know how it goes. Things take longer than you expect. Life happens because this isn't my full-time job. I have to work around my day job to do this stuff. But I appreciate all the support and encouragement. I appreciate all those of you who step up to the channel and support us with product and money and parts and just so many things that make this possible. I can't even begin to tell you how grateful I am, how humbled I am. Mind blown for sure. Thank you, Super Clean. I appreciate your support, your belief in this channel and in what we're doing here means a lot. You reached out when we were a lot smaller and we're not very big now, but I think you saw something here that you saw potential in, and I'm a loyal kind of guy, so you're going with me no matter how far we go, as long as you'll put up with me. All right, that'll do it for this episode. You can find us on the Face thing. Instant Grandma just loves us /mycarshop. Don't forget that we have a fabricating and metalwork group on Facebook also. You can find that over there. We're just busy. We got a lot going on. Also, you guys have been asking me about no-name nationals. I've hemmed and I've hawed, I've thought, and Becky told me what I'm doing. So we're planning at this point to be there. I'm not sure if we're even going to be able to bring a car. Got a few ideas in mind, but I'm just going to leave it at that. You can speculate, drop it down there in the comments what you think I might do, and we'll just go from there. All right, that'll do it. Don't forget the most important thing every single day of your life.
Rock!